तुलिया बाब यतीश बाबान सामको पॉइंट बाय पॉइंट वाचून दाखयले. तो म्हणटा हातूंत वायट कितें आहा, सगळें कोमुनदारांच्या बऱ्या खातीरच केलें म्हण आमी.
Yatish Bab, as an advocate and as a votary of his party, having actually, I won't say he didn't read out, but actually rehearsed or given us an explanatory memorandum of what has just been passed in the assembly, doesn't really give us any angle into this law. He has only read out an explanatory memorandum which is there as a part of this approval of the laws, why it has been brought. I am on a basically another issue that if you are bringing some reform, first reform the Comunidade why it was meant to be there. You are not doing the things which are of the primary objective and which the government themselves says agriculture is declining. The agriculture needs to be saved. How do you do this first? You are touching the peripheral issues with an eye on giving land for development, with an eye on easing out an inconvenient managing committee which is duly elected, with an eye on doing some management through a government officer in the absence of a committee. These are the issues which have to have a proper debate in the public domain first. And the public domain that exists is Article 652. It is not an association, as my friend Trajan thinks. It's not an association. A Comunidade convention is convened in terms of this clause on the first Sunday of January, at least once in 5 years. At least it can be convened more often if the need so arises, to discuss issues, matters, and reforms, if any, to these bodies. And only after, so these are only advisory norms in terms of a beneficial legislation, rather than sidetracking you, using arbitrary powers and getting the government empowered, and in the process getting the Comunidade bodies disempowered. I am here as a votary of a Comunidade movement, an elected president of a sitting Comunidade, and earlier also part of a Comunidade commission that was constituted on the orders of the Honorable High Court, and where actually a comprehensive report has been tabled, placed before the government, submitted to the government, and has been tabled on the floor of the House in response to a assembly question during the last legislative assembly session. And why has the government, when a report which has got some legal, I won't say it's binding, but at least the High Court had ordered the commission to be constituted and to submit its report. When the government, such a report is lying with the government, I want to ask the government, what have you done with this report?
यतीश बाब, ऑन दॅट पॉइंट दोन मुद्दे आहेत. एक आसात की जो टाजन बाबान काढलो, तुलिया बाबाने म्हळें की तुमकां जर कितें अशें हाडपाचेंच आशिल्लें, पयलीं कन्सल्ट करा आशिल्लें, डिस्कस करा आशिल्लें आनी मागीर हाडपाचो. दुसरो पॉइंट, जेन्ना ऑलरेडी कमिशनाचो रिपोर्ट टेबल केल्लो आसा हावसा भितर, त्या रिपोर्टाचेर एक्ट जायनासतना डायरेक्टली एक नवीन लेजिस्लेशन हाडप, that raises lot of questions.
I am trying to say that the amendments are good for these purposes. How it helps better functioning of the Comunidades. So there is no point in just saying arbitrary. And if it is something is bad in the law, point out what is bad in the law. You just can't use these words arbitrary. Therefore, my friend from the Congress has to point out, and what he has not done so far is, if this amendment is bad, which they say, then say why it is bad, because it is not bad, it is very good. So perhaps they have nothing to say, and therefore they are trying to beat around the bush.
तुलिया बाब, तो म्हणटा की arbitrary,
nothing to point
why
out.
do you call these amendments arbitrary, तुलिया बाब?
You mean to say that in the existing code, there is no provision to act against the illegal or any arbitrary functioning of a managing committee? There are existing provisions in the code which allow the administrator to conduct an inquiry and deal with such a emerging situation of a managing committee defaulting on its duties or carrying out certain matters which are contrary to the interest of that Comunidade, and after a due process of inquiry, because Yatish Bab is an advocate you can't suspend somebody before he is considered and proven guilty. How do you suspend a committee just because an inquiry is pending on him? After the inquiry, there will be a report. The report has to translate in terms of a charge and a charge sheet, and the charge sheet has to sustain in a court of law. And how does this suddenly sidetrack the entire normal process of a law and say that this committee has to go home?
तू
हय.
मुद्दाम क्लॉज 1 पळय दॅट इन दिस इन्व्हेस्टिगेशन ऑल अक्यूज शाल बी गिवन हियरिंग
हय.
हियरिंग कोणे काडिल्ले ना हियरिंग कायद्यान आसा एक्शन घेवपाक आतां क्लॅरिटी हाडपाक बेटर फंक्शनिंगा खातीर थंय ते एक प्रोविजो हाडला आनी प्रोविजो हॅज गिवन अ पर्स्पेक्टीव टू द फंक्शनॅलिटी ऑफ द लॉ हियरिंग कोणे काडला कोण कोमिंदादी घेवंक सोदता इट इज फ्रेंझी क्रिएट करची न्हय
यदीश बाब,
I
दोन
tell you
होच
one more
न्याय
thing.
जो आसा तो आमदाराक आनी मंत्र्याकय लागपा
this
जाय.
is we are talking of the code of comunidades
हय.
I can
don't
understand
talk
whether
of
they are both
मातसो
subject.
मातसो सुद्दां भायर वचनाक म्हणटा हांव.
Don't go beyond
मातसो
the
सुद्दां भायर
scope.
वचनाक
We
म्हणटा.
are within the
you
discussion
cannot-
of
you-
code of comunidades.
ओके.
1 minute.
या
No,
Please
no, no.
ask-
Please.
या तुलिया वेलकम टू यू. तुलिया वेलकम टू यू. या
Pramod Babu is asking Yatish categorically
हय.
why the same type of scenario should not be applied to your government who's bringing something with unclean hands.
No, that is
with
not
people who have
right.
a charge sheet. 1 minute. And he and Yatish and Tulio are diverting the whole topic. It looks they're both combined, and that happened on the floor of the House.
I'm seriously now getting confused about who is diverting the topic. However,
He's
Tulia
talking
Bab-
something. He's
Okay.
talking something.
Tulia
Again,
Bab-
it is a straightforward point.
Yeah.
As you have asked, why can
तू म्हणटा
charge-sheeted
सगळ्याक
people-
सेम न्याय लाय.
Yes.
ओके.
अरे
तुलिया
हांव
बाब-
तेच सांगता की तुका प्रोव्हिजन वाच आणि हियरिंग बिरिंग सगळें
पण तू
encapsulated
तेच
आहा.
सांगता.
ओके.
कोणाची पावर उरना
आणि तो
Okay.
आणि सांगता
Okay now. Tulia Bab,
You
yes,
cannot-
yes. Tulia Bab, respond to it. Yeah.
You look at the existing, there is a tiered form of administration. There is a tiered form of administration that runs the state. There is a village panchayat, there is a Zilla panchayat, there is a legislative assembly, and so on and so forth. Can you suddenly overrun these tiers of
Nobody is overrunning.
administration?
We
and do
are
something?
reading 70.
There
yeah.
is
Who
now
is
under-
overrunning where
under
panchayat
71
and what you're talking?
Under 71 and 72, the elected president has been specially empowered to do certain things. Should the
Nothing has been withered
committee
away.
as a whole
Nothing has been withered
overrun
away
the
in the
decision of
amendments.
the Comunidade?
Nothing
And
has been withered away in the amendments.
No, by suspending, by giving the government a direct power to suspend a committee, it is understood that 71 and 72 are totally becoming
See, if you
irrelevant,
see 70,
redundant,
the
and
power of
diluted.
dissolution is with the
No, no,
administrator.
no.
It is already with the administrator in these kind of cases. And basically, if you see the situation of giving hearing is also in the law. This is only to bring clarity in the law.
No, there is no clarity.
You see
This is only
70,
the government.
you see
And
71, it says
and
the accused shall be given hearing.
But both
This is to
you
bring clarity
cannot-
in the law.
Please understand that an elected committee, democratically elected committee, cannot be arbitrarily suspended
No,
by the
therefore I'm
government
saying
pending
you are
an
using
inquiry.
the word arbitrarily in a completely misplaced fashion.
Okay.
No, it
Nothing
is
is
not.
arbitrary in
It
the
is
law.
not.
Okay,
Please
Rajan Babu, yeah.
understand that I will also touch upon what Rajan was saying just now, that although we are not on a debate on analogous situations existing in the government, but the fact remains that in government you have charge-sheeted ministers who are carrying on the business of the day in a very normal manner till they are proven guilty in the court at some point in time or the other. And here in the Comunidades, it is found expedient to ease out a committee within a few days.
See, my way
Without
of looking
the
at it,
proper
Pramod, would be
course of the
if
law-
these amendments, I'm coming back to it, if these amendments they had to say something, they should have moved amendments on the floor of the House. Why
Okay.
have you not articulated on the floor of the House?
Rajan Bab,
And you are speaking something
okay,
else outside.
okay.
Please
Rajan Bab,
understand,
Rajan Bab,